All right, for the viewers of Connection, I'm Ron Gorey. I'm here with Steve Scott, one of the owners of Whitetail Institute. Steve, welcome to the Connection.
Hey, I appreciate you coming down.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Steve Scott is the owner, one of the owners of Whitetail Institute. Like I said, he's Steve. Tell us a little bit about Whitetail Institute and how you got started.
All right, that's testing my gray matter, but no, it's actually we started in 1988. It was founded by Ray Scott. He started it. My brother Wilson and I have been running it since 89, 90. But the way it got started was really by accident with my dad, where he used to buy seed like everybody down south. You know, we used to plant wheat, rye, and oats, what have you. And one time a guy threw him a bag of clover on there and said, "Hey, just try this." And when he went out and planted it, he planted it in strips. You know, wheat here, rye, with the clover, and then the oats, and then more wheat when ready. But kind of like a cafeteria. And the first time he hunted it, he noticed that when the first 3 or 4 deer came out, they walked through 2 or 3 different things and started eating the clover. Wow, that's pretty interesting. But then he saw that happen 2 or 3 more times, and it went from being just a little bit interesting that he wanted to know why. So he went back to the guy that gave him the seed, and he told him it actually was an agronomist from Auburn University that had developed that clover. So he called the guy, went and saw him, and started talking to him and asked him back. He said, "Yeah, it's going to be more preferred," and went through all the reasons why. But he said something else that you may not know is nutrition-wise. It's extremely high in protein, which is extremely important for the health of the animals. And my dad said, it's interesting you say that because we've been trying to manage our deer a little bit, and we've noticed we've got better quality deer since we planted it a few years ago. We're seeing better deer. One thing led to another. He said, if I'm seeing this and science is sound, and he asked the guy, he said, "Can you develop a clover specifically for deer?" He said, "Yeah, I can do it." He said, "You're hired." And from that point on, that's where it started.
And that's how it got started.
That's kind of how it got started. And since then, we've, our original Imperial Whitetail Clover is what we're best known for. But Imperial Whitetail Clover today, the ingredients are completely different from what they were years ago as we've developed better quality clovers over the years. And we've also got a host of other products, some alfalfa-based products. We've got products designed strictly to plant in the fall. We've got products strictly designed to be planted in the spring. And then a lot of products that are designed to be planted either in the fall or the spring. So in our website, whitetailinstitute.com, it's got all those products listed, how you walk through, which one to plant, which one you want to plant. And so it's been fun. It's been going on 30 years, and it's been a fun way to make a living. It's something that's always been my passion.
I know I use your product out there at my farm, and it's had amazing results. The antler growth of the deer, the health of the fawns, how quickly they grow after they're born, all that is I can put out trail camera footage after trail camera footage and show you the difference. It's been amazing. If I'm okay, I know me and you both, we hunt in different places. I've hunted in Illinois. I go to North Carolina every year. I've hunted in Delaware. Some people hunt out west. Does your seed offer that different? Can I get something if I was hunting out west to plant out there versus planting down here in the south?
Yeah.
Is there a better seed for that, or?
To answer your question, when you go further west, once you get, let's just say, on the western half of the country, you start to get into some very arid areas that get very low rainfall. So it limits them a little bit on which one of our products they can use. But yes, they can use our products, but it's all dictated by rainfall. But the eastern half of the country, let's say from North Dakota over to Maine, down to Florida, and over to East Texas, all the eastern half of the country, all these products are going to do fine for them. Now their planting dates are going to be different. In other words, when I plant a fall planting, maybe the 1st of October down here in Alabama,
right.
Whereas a guy in Minnesota, he can plant it maybe in June or July.
Right.
So the planting dates vary, but the same products are used. And one of the things that we do in the development of these products is when we field test them before they ever go to the market, they're tested in the coldest regions all the way into Canada and all the way into the hottest regions down in the deep south. Okay. So the development's done so that it will be able to handle, whether it be in a very, very cold environment or a very, very dry environment.
And I noticed one of the things that I really, when I was turned on to your product, one of the things that I really liked about your product is I noticed on your website you have map there that lets me know when is the optimum time for me to plant. What depending on what I plant, depending on what I choose, I can actually go on that website and look in that website, and it tells me, okay, if you're planting, like for instance, I told you I plant no plow. I can look on there and say, okay, the best time for me to plant is from this time to this time. And I really like that about your product. That's really something that really helps. And folks, if you really want a good product, that's a good product.
Yeah, no plow's been a fantastic product for us, and when you follow the planting dates, and they're on there for every state, so absolutely, stay within those planting dates gives you the best chance of success, and you should be in good shape. And one of the other things I would encourage people to do is our website. It's got a product selector. You click on the product selector, and it can, starts asking you questions, and it can narrow down. All right, well, these are the 3 or 4 questions you answered. These are the 4 or 5 products that you have an option to use.
Oh, see, that's something I haven't went into yet, but that's
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it is. It's a neat deal. And we've got products that are designed for people to hunt over fall and winter. We got products that are designed to be planted in the spring, provide a lot of protein for the deer to help with antler development. The does in most all parts of the country are going to go into the 3rd trimester of pregnancy when most of the fetal growth occurs. But also the higher protein feed helps them produce more milk for their fawns as well. So it's the nutrition is sound. What I was going to say was the website's got a host of information. I mean, when I say a bunch of information, but we've also got an 800 number, and I encourage 800-688-3030. We got consultants available 8 to 5, Monday through Fridays, 8 to 5 Central Time, Monday through Friday, and that's what we do all day long is help people. A guy that's just getting started to a guy that's the most expert guy, been doing it for decades. We help those guys all day long on making sure they're doing things right. Take advantage of the call. The call's free, so is the consulting.
See, that's fantastic. I know I've got a lot of guys that I work with that are getting into hunting now, and they've been asking me a little bit about food plot, and I've pointed them at your website. And I think that's great that you've got that 800 number there. That somebody, because I know when I first started planting food plots, it was just hit or miss. I started with my dad, and we started planting food plots, and there was nobody there to help us out, nobody there to guide us. So that 800 number would probably be coming real handy.
Yes, we get a tremendous amount of comments on there about guys who started out and either failed originally or got half decent results, but then they started asking questions, calling us, and they've taken their food plot from being decent to being magazine quality. And there's some steps that need to be taken to allow you to be as successful as you can possibly be, and but we provide that information. And it's not Chinese math. It's not that difficult, but there's 3 or 4 or 5 things it's probably gonna need to do, and if you follow the instructions, you've done all you can do. Then it's just up to Mother Nature. Yeah. Obviously, Mother Nature's got to cooperate, and as you can see, I'm Babylon and get off on tangents. But let me mention one thing. That's the most important thing we'll say here today. If once somebody decides to do a food plot, or if they're doing them and they want to take them to the next level, the best thing that they'll ever do is to do a professional soil test through a professional laboratory. We offer those soil tests. If they want them, they can get them from us. They're available at a lot of co-ops, agriculture universities offer them, or they again do them through us. They call us or go to our website. They're available. It's less than $15, but that tells them exactly what nutrients, fertilizer they need to add, and how much. But it also tells them if they're going to need to add lime, and if so, how much. But it takes all the guesswork out of it. But if we don't get anything else from the conversation today, I just encourage people to do that soil test. That alone will take their food plot performance to another level. Now,
you were talking about doing that. Now, let's just say, for instance, I lived in North Carolina where my buddy's at. My pro staffer, he can go in there and get a soil sample and actually send it off to Whitetail Institute.
Yep, he's going to send it to my lab, and my lab's in Tennessee.
Okay, so they'll test it and send it back to him, let him know, or send the results back to him and let him know.
They send the results on what they found, but they also, with our soil test, especially if he's planting one of our products, he can just check which product he wants to plant, or even 2 of them at a time if he wants to. But it tells the results they found, but it also gives you the recommendations in layman's terms, where they're easy to understand on what you need to apply in the soil. But first thing he needs to do is order the kit from us. We'll send him what he needs, the little baggie to put the soil in and the information sheet and all the instructions. It's simple to do. Takes a little bit of time, but again, it'll be the best time and the money they spend.
And he can do that at whitetailinstitute.com.
Whitetailinstitute.com, or he can call our 800 number and order it off the phone. Either way, and I think they're like $13.50, $14, something like that. That includes shipping. So again, and he'll probably make that up. Most people when they plant, they go out and they put out 300 or 400 pounds of triple 13 an acre. Just throw it out, and that's kind of typically what they do every year. But what they may find, and when they do that soil test, is they may find they don't need any phosphorus. So they can go buy fertilizer without phosphorus, so they're going to save probably much more than the $14 or $15 they spent off buying exactly what they need, as opposed to just shotgunning it.
I know that soil sample you talked about is very, very important. I had done that with my property there, and I noticed that when I sent mine off, it was very, very lime poor. So had I been going out and throwing out triple 13 just because I needed fertilizer, or I thought I needed fertilizer, I would have really been hurting my seed more than I'd have been helping it.
Now what happens is the fertilizer, the nutrients in the soil get bound up. We're getting into the chemistry. We don't want to go too deep into that. But what happens, for example, let's just say you planted 4 or 5 acres and spent $1,000 on fertilizer, and your pH is down around 5.0 or lower. That $1,000 that you put out there, the plants that are growing can only use about $500 of it.
Yeah.
So you wasted $500 because of chemistry. And again, don't want to get too much into that.
Right.
But we've simplified it with our soil test, where you don't have to be a chemistry expert to understand it. I can understand it. Anybody can understand it.
And that helps out the guys, again, those guys that are really starting to just get into planting food plots and stuff like that. Do you have any words of advice for, say, maybe food plot maintenance a little bit?
Yeah, it's something all of our packaging has the maintenance instructions on them. Also, the maintenance instructions are available at whitetailinstitute.com, the maintenance instruction for every product. But it depends on, there's so many different products that they can plant. It's going to dictate on what they need to do and what they don't need to do. But if they're planting perennial stuff that can last for several years from a single planting, for example, a pure whitetail clover, there's some maintenance they need to do on it. They want to probably mow it periodically, maybe 2 or 3 times during the spring and summer. And the main thing they're doing there is make sure no weeds and grasses get a chance to go to seed. If the weeds and grasses start to flower, just mow the tops off just to keep that from creating seed, which is going to create more competition on down the road. And plus, the nutrition is solid in this imperial whitetail clover. It's 30-35% and up to that. And that protein's crucial for animal development. You mentioned you've got better deer on your property now. It's and this is the way I normally explain it. A deer can survive, obviously, just by what Mother Nature provides. But what we do is we take in a situation, especially in Alabama, we're kind of, not unique, but the natural browse is very low in protein. Again, they can survive, but we want our deer to thrive. We want them to get, what we want to do, let's just say Mother Nature can get a deer that's genetically, say when he's born, he could be a 150-inch deer. Let's just say Mother Nature in Alabama provides him the nutrition that allows him to get to 120. Okay, he's not going to get bigger than that based on the nutrition. What we want to do is we want to help him thrive and help close that gap from 120 to that closer to that 150. We're not going to take a 150 and make him a 200.
No.
We can't do that. That's up to the good Lord. But what we can do is we can take him, keep him from getting limited to that 120 stage and maybe get a few more inches on his antler. And just, it's just like me and you. We improve our diet, we're going to be more healthy. We're not going to grow antlers, but we're going to be more healthy. Same thing with the deer.
And I noticed too, the fawns are healthier. They grow quicker. The does are bigger. The body weight is bigger on them. So that not only does it help the antler grow, which, let's be honest, that's what we're out there for.
Sure.
But it also helps the fawn rate get health. The fawns are healthier. The does are healthier. The deer, the herd, all around is a healthier herd.
You're 100% correct. Matter of fact, there's a guy that we work with that ran a research facility in Michigan. It's a guy named John Ozoga, and he wrote for us several years ago that the actual birth weight of a fawn has a correlation to his antlers at maturity.
Did not know that.
I didn't know that either, but it was pretty interesting and very interesting. But it makes sense. When an animal's born with a food supply that's very healthy from him, the day he's born, he's going to be more healthy at maturity than a deer that had to struggle the first 2 or 3 years to get by, and then the food's applied. Yeah, it will improve those, but it'll improve those fawns even more.
Yeah, and that makes sense when you think about it.
It does. It does make sense, and it's sound. I mean, it's something that it's the reason we've been here for close to 30 years, and we're growing every year because it takes some work. People put some money up, and but that's something that I think our customers, as far as I'm concerned, the cream of the crop of the hunting industry. I love all hunters. Don't get me wrong, but people that plant food plot are actually putting something back, and we do it with an ulterior motive. We want more deer to hunt. And we want better quality deer to hunt.
Right.
But at the same time, when we put that money and that effort into it, the animals themselves do benefit. Not just the deer. I mean, turkeys, rabbits, bears if they're around, whatever. Every animal benefits from the food plot efforts. And in Genesis, it tells us we're supposed to leave the land better than we found it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it is Genesis. Yeah, that's right.
And I love again, I got turned on to your Whitetail product, and I've tried other products. We won't name any names, but I've tried other products and not have seen some products the deer will eat, but the antler growth just as a whole. I've got deer on my place that I would have never imagined. I mean, 130, 140 deer on my place. I've got a 10 point that it's going to easily go 130. No doubt.
That's good. Those are good deer in Alabama.
Yeah, that's a great deer, considering the first deer that we've taken off that place, the first buck was a spike about that long, and it was a 3.5-year-old deer. So the quality of deer that I've seen just by using your product in the few years that I've used your product now has been amazing.
And should continue to improve.
I like the fact that you've got that helpline for everybody, and that new hunters can come in and look at your product. Folks, again, I say I don't recommend the product unless I use the product. I use Whitetail Institute products. Check them out online at www.whitetailinstitute.com. You won't regret it. Mr. Scott, I appreciate you being with us today. Thank you very much for having us. I have enjoyed it, and I look forward to getting together with you again sometime.
Absolutely, I hope so. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the viewers of Connection, stay connected as we connect with the outdoors.